Just 9 days to go now until Liverpool's Premier League campaign begins, and after 3 weeks in Austria, the Reds have stepped up their preparations in another picturesque part of Europe. Jurgen Klopp's squad have spent the last few days in Evian in France, very close to the Swiss border, and today sees them play friendlies number 5 and 6 of this pre-season so far. Well, the opposition is Bologna of Serie A. There will be two 60-minute matches with two different 11s for both clubs today, and the kick-off times are 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. UK time. And you can watch all the action live today on LFC TV and LFC TV Go as well. If you don't have a subscription already, then you can find details of how you can sign up online. Go to liverpoolfc.com/watch. And we're not done after today either. Two more friendlies are taking place against Spanish opposition on Sunday and Monday. Both games against Athletic Club of Bilbao and Osasuna as well are at Anfield. If you can't get to the stadium though, you can see every kick live on the channel and on the move as well. So lots more football for us to get our teeth into over the next few days as Liverpool prepare for that opening fixture at Norwich next weekend. Gary Gillespie and Jason McAteer are here to enjoy all of today's action, and our man Mark Benstead is over in France.
Thank you, Becky. Welcome to the Camille Fournier Stadium here in Evian, the scene of the Reds' final pre-season game on foreign soil, at least, before those two matches to come at Anfield in the coming days. A change in the kind of opposition as well from German Bundesliga outfits. Today, instead, is a side from Serie A. Bologna finished 12th last campaign. They were 8 points clear of the relegation zone in the end, but whereas Liverpool finished the season incredibly strongly, they had a really poor end to the campaign. They didn't win in any of the last 7 outings. Sinisa Mihajlovic is their boss, obviously a fabulous player during his time there. He was a Serie A winner with Lazio and Inter Milan. He's trying to shape a team that can compete in Serie A just now. He's chopped and changed things over the course of the closed season, but he's without some key players today. Also, we should also throw in that they are slightly behind Liverpool in their schedule. Serie A starts a week later than the Premier League. They were in pre-season action a few days ago. They played Borussia Dortmund. They went down 3-0. In terms of the players he's without, some notable absentees. Marko Arnautovic has just joined. Of course, we know him from the Premier League at Stoke and West Ham. He is not available today. They've also got a few other players missing. Aaron Hickey, who is another Scottish left-back, also from Glasgow, like Andy Robertson. He is not part of the group today. There are a few players you might recognise. Gary Medell, the Chile international who played in the Premier League, is involved in the squad this afternoon. He was actually involved in the Copa America and featured when Roberto Firmino lined up for Brazil just, a month ago. So those two came head-to-head quite recently. Also within the group, there's a player who has a famous name, Pierre van Hooydonk's son. Sydney is part of the Bologna squad this afternoon. So that's the kind of opposition we'll face. In terms of who we will line up with, well, I can tell you there's some interesting additions to the starting lineup for Liverpool today. There's a first start for Virgil van Dijk as he steps up his recovery from injury. There's also a start for Diogo Jota as well. The Reds lineup is as follows then. It's Kevin Kelleher in goal, the back four of Andy Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Joel Matip and Trent Alexander-Arnold. In midfield, it's James Milner, the captain, Naby Keita and Harvey Elliott. And across the top, Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota and Mo Salah. On the bench for game 1 today, it is Karius Pitaluga, Reece Williams, Woodburn and Beck. I mentioned that there was a son of a famous player in the Bologna lineup. There's actually another one. Matteo Pagliuca is also part of the Bologna setup. His father was Gianluca Pagliuca, the famous Italian goalkeeper. He was in goal, actually, in 1994 when Ray Houghton scored for Ireland against Italy in the World Cup. A famous victory for the Irish. Of course, Jason, you were playing that day. I bet that makes you feel pretty old.
Thanks, Mark.
What a great start to the show. You've not even said a word. You stitched you off already.
Do you know what else was significant about that day? Talking of age.
No.
It was my birthday.
Was
It was my birthday, yeah. We beat Italy 1-0. What a birthday present that was.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, Ray Houghton lobbed Pagliuca.
I remember.
You remember the goal vaguely, yeah? We went on and won 1-0. But for them, they went on to reach the final of the World Cup that year and lost.
Baggio missed the penalty, didn't he?
Baggio missed the penalty. Who beat them in the final?
Germany.
Brazil.
Brazil.
See, I'm too young to remember all
Every
of this,
day's a school day, though, isn't it?
It certainly is.
There you
Listen, let's talk about I was going to say this game, these two games today, because it's a bit of a marathon stint for us, isn't it?
Well, for us or them?
For all
us,
of
we're
us,
doing
I
more
think,
work
to be
than them.
honest. I know. Two 60-minute games.
Yeah.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah, anytime you get to see the lads, you know, where they're up to in pre-season is great. I think from the lads' point of view, listen, anything's better than a double session. Gary will tell you that. Players hate that, and they get the opportunity to get another hour under the belt. It was intriguing to see what the team was going to be. He's gone strong. I mean, Gary were talking about the team, and you know, the shades of a possible first team in there. There's one or two you could put question marks over, but again, it gives them that game time. It gets them that sort of feel with playing for each other was what you need. But like I said, they'll be pleased that they're not doing 2 sessions today and they're just getting an hour run out. Although they might have trained this morning, we don't know how things are.
Well, I think this has kind of been squeezed in, isn't it? I think in general terms, when you look at Jurgen Klopp and his pre-season build-up, he likes to play quite a few games. I think in general terms, again, on average, he probably plays about 8 or 9 games in pre-season, which not an awful lot of teams do that, but he does like to do that. So this is probably hence the reason why he squeezed these games in. Obviously, the 2 games at the weekend, I think that brings them up to more or less 8 friendly games. So he's there or thereabouts what he likes to give the lads that, that match fitness.
Yeah, like Gary said, there've been 4 games now, and there's these 2 today, and then there's the 2 against the Spanish sides at the weekend, at Sunday and Monday. So it looks like quite a lot in quite a short period of time, but there's obviously methods, so he gets to see everyone.
Well, we spoke about it at the Hertha Berlin game. You know, this is quite abnormal for a pre-season, this kind of setup, certainly going away for a month. I think for the manager, it's great. I think from the commercial department, it's not so great. We know what pre-season does commercially for a football club. That's why we enter into places like Australia and Asia, and we go out to where the fan base is. Commercially, it's great, and it brings a lot of revenue into the football club. But because of COVID and other situations, you know, Jurgen probably has got the pre-season he's wanted. So it's a month away. I think it's 3 different hotels, different venues to mix it up. It'll be great for the lads sort of to get to know each other. It won't be as intense as maybe what a pre-season abroad in the sense of Asia would be, because there's a lot of travelling, that you get jet lag set in, weather. You know, I went to Hong Kong and it absolutely lashed down and they couldn't train, and the manager, you know, wasn't happy with the situation and all that, but he has to contend with it. He's got his pre-season that he wants to. And plus we've had a lot of injuries as well, so they can be monitored day to day. The physios can get their hands on them, you know, 24 hours a day if they want them. And like Gary said, they like playing a lot of games, so he gets that wish as well. This has been crammed in, but you know, like I said, the lads would rather be on the football pitch playing football rather than running around.
Well, we can see the lineup there, and obviously the headline is Van Dijk starts, Gary. A big step up for him to be starting. I suppose he's probably going to maybe play half an hour, I would imagine.
Well, I don't think he would start unless they thought he was okay to start. I think he had that little cameo appearance with Joe Gomez for 20 minutes in the last game. Didn't really have an awful lot to do. He's a little bit unfortunate with the goal, the way that it kind of slipped a little bit. But looked, well, put it this way, he didn't look out of place. And I think a starting lineup, again, you're probably right, you probably have half an hour, I think. It'll be a gradual build-up for him and Joe Gomez. I still think that probably the starting lineup come Norwich will be Matip and Konate. But, you know, he's a quality top individual, and you can't afford to, you know, leave these sort of players out for too long. So it might be a case that he does make the starting lineup against Norwich.
Do you think? I mean, it's only an hour this game, isn't it?
This first one.
So obviously it's a bit of a Legends feel, this, isn't it? Half an hour each way. Do you think? Do you think an hour's too much for Van Dijk, or do you think it's where he needs to step up?
I think it'd be a little bit on the top side, a little bit for me. An hour. If you've only played 20 minutes after the injury he's actually had, I think I'd be surprised if he plays the whole first 60 minutes.
There's going to be a few playing 60 minutes because there's only 5 subs, isn't there?
There certainly is,
so
indeed.
You do
it's
the
going
math.
to be a busy afternoon. We have got an exclusive interview as well with Virgil van Dijk coming up in just a few minutes' time. But it is a busy period for Jurgen Klopp and his staff preparing the squad for the new season on the pitch. And it's also been a busy time off it as well, with 3 new contracts in the last week. We'll hear from Trent Alexander-Arnold on his deal a little bit later on. But first to the Brazilians. Fabinho and Alisson both delighted to commit their future to the club.
For me, professionally, is the best decision. It's the same decision as I took when I came here first. Since I arrived here, I start to win trophies with this amazing team, with this amazing group. I start to develop myself in many aspects, in football, in my life.
These last 3 seasons, I've been really happy here. I learned a lot with the manager, with all the staff, with the boys as well. So we achieved great things together. And for me, I think it's the best place to be, best place to keep growing, to keep learning from the staff, from the boys. And yes, hopefully we will keep achieving great things.
Ray, the team manager, he told me once a sentence that about the family, that happy wife, happy life, and my wife is really happy here in England. He is happy for my children, for myself, for herself as well. We found a purpose of life here, and I'm really, really happy to continue this wearing this shirt.
Yeah, 2 people to keep happy in life, the manager and the wife. So
yeah.
to keep you in the good books.
Yeah, of course. But the manager is not too difficult to keep him happy. Yeah, it's just doing everything as I used to do on the pitch, outside the pitch. Obviously, you have to be committed with the team, with everything. The wife is quite tricky, but I have no problems with that as well.
Things you feel when you are at the training ground, when you go around and the people, the fans, treat you always with love, always say great things to you. So the people at the club are very special. We have the best fans in the world. So these kind of things make me feel like a home. So yeah, that's it.
How good was it for you to go home for a little bit and switch off and just recharge mentally more than anything else after all of last year?
Yeah, it was not only good, but was needed. Long time that I'm not been at home. I think 2 years. The last holiday I could not fly because of COVID, of course. This time was even more important for me. To see my brother, my mother, all the friends, my grandmother, everybody. It was a short time, but was a good time, intense with my family. So this recharge a little bit my batteries to this next season.
How many days into being home was it before they had the West Brom goal up to talk about that?
Yeah, everybody just talk about that. When they first saw me, they just talk about that, about the amazing goal. It was something really crazy. I think it was the most crazy thing in the last season. Everybody, I think many things happened, but nobody expected I would have scored a goal.
I want to be a important piece in this team, not as a player but as a leader as well. And I have to say before, I keep learning, keep from the boys, from the staff, and be the best as I can.
We have to set goals, and we have to set them high, winning everything that we are playing. The Champions League, the Premier League, the Cups, everything. And then I think we can start from there. But obviously winning depends on what we will put on the pitch, what we will give on the pitch, and we have to give 100% at least. And if we can push harder, we will go.
We know our quality, with these players we can go really far in all the competitions. And the last year we didn't win any trophies, so I think everyone is hungry to win, to win more trophies, to win more things, to keep our fans happy. So hopefully we'll do this season.
I need to ask finally, Is there any chance this season of the moustache coming back? It was sensational last campaign, very popular.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, many people are asking on Twitter, on Instagram to bring the moustache back again. Maybe, yeah? Who knows? Maybe.
Have you persuaded any of the other boys to try it?
No. I think it's not for everyone. It's not just I want a moustache. You have to you need to have the proper one.
Yeah, there will be some very, very dodgy moustaches in that group, I think.
Definitely.
That would be quite a sight, wouldn't it? A team full of Alisson moustaches. What do you reckon?
He's a threat, I know that. He's a good-looking boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he can pull anything off. There's a few of them who'd struggle, I think, but he can certainly pull whatever he wants off, yeah.
Well, listen, big smiles all round from both of them, because tying those two down to long-term contracts, Gary, is excellent news for the club.
I think the one thing you get from that interview is like they're two happy players. They're happy in their environment. The family is happy in the environment. And when you put that combination together, that's what happens. You sign long-term contracts. But to put a little bit of a blanket over it, you've just got to look at what's happening at this moment in time in football with Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. Contracts, I mean, fans love it and like that, but ultimately they don't really mean that much, to be quite honest with you. Well, they don't. As simple as, because if a player is not a happy player, he'll want away. And that's the skill that Liverpool at this moment in time have. The manager brings them all together. They all work together, all train together, all play together. They all play for each other. And when you've got that camaraderie within your squad, people will tend to like sign long-term contracts, and not just sign long-term contracts, but honour long-term contracts. It's a different thing honouring a long-term contract as opposed to signing a long-term contract. And for players to do that, you have to have a happy camp, happy environment, and that's where it comes down to the manager, and that's where the skill of like the manager just goes a little bit unrecognised and a little bit unnoticed at times. You're all about tactics and what happens on the field. What happens off the field is just as important. It's great news for the football club because it protects them, and it's great news for us at the moment at this time because they are two quality individual players.
I think one thing you didn't throw in there is a winning camp as well. I think you're right, a happy camp, yeah, I agree with everything there, but also a winning camp. This is a squad that's winning trophies, and I think it's a lot easier to keep players.
Well, I didn't put winning camp in purely and simply because we didn't win anything last year. That's the reason why I didn't do it.
You know, he's got a goal in his locker as well now, so we'll like hopefully more of that next season would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, with a couple of minutes ago, just throw him up, yeah. Listen, you have to evolve as a football club, and nothing lasts forever, and Jurgen's put together a fantastic outfit, and we've borne the fruits of that, haven't we? Mm-hmm. We've had fantastic 4 years and won lots of stuff, but you have to evolve, and I don't think there's going to be all these players are going to be together over the next 3 years. There's players that are going to leave this season, there's players going to leave next window, the window after, and you've got to keep evolving. What COVID has done, the effects of financial ability to go into the market, we still don't know. It's great that we've signed players like Alisson and Trent and Fabinho to long-term contracts because there's an element of through the spine of the team, but also they're big players. They're important players. They're young as well, and signing players like that is a statement of intent for me if you want to build, because it attracts players to come. The likes of Kane and Grealish, they're not winning anything at their football clubs, and they're at that point of their career where they can't stay at Villa and they can't stay at Tottenham because they don't believe that they're going to win things. And plus the clubs that want them.
Yeah, but why do they sign 5-year contracts and 6-year contracts then?
Because it's attractive and they do what their agent says, and at the time it probably was the right deal. I totally agree with you. I think player power is, but I think these players are in a different position than Grealish and Kane. I think they believe in the football. They've won things. They believe in the manager. They believe the club is in a good position and is moving forward. So it's very, very good. Let's
touch on Fabinho, because we saw towards the tail end of last season, he's back in midfield. You know how much he loves playing that sixth position, and hopefully injuries allowing this season we'll see a lot more of him there.
Well, the one thing I picked up from his interview, the fact that he signed a long-term contract, he was talking about not just playing, but being a leader. And that's something that, I don't think Jordan Henderson's going to go on forever, and I don't think James Milner's going to go on forever. you think Virgil van Dijk's got to be there for a little while. He's obviously a born commanding leader, but you need leaders and you need characters on the playing pitch as well, and hopefully he can develop into that. I think his best position is central midfield, without a shadow of a doubt. He can fill a role within the centre back position, but I don't think it's beneficial for either him or the football club. But he'll have a big role again this season to play. I'll be interested. That area of the pitch is going to be the one area where you're going to have questions. I think a lot of questions. Who's going to play, personnel that's going to play on a regular basis. But I think that Fabinho will be the one that probably starts more often than not.
Yeah, him being back in that role it's almost the key that unlocks so much that's good about the team, isn't it? Because obviously if he can offer that level of protection to the defence, the likes of Trent, Andy Robertson can get forward more.
Well, that's what we've seen, didn't we? When he obviously showed his versatility, and that is great, and I'm sure the manager's had that on his mind when he's selling Fabinho to the club, as in, let's give him a new deal. But also, you're right, I think, and Gary's right, to play central midfield, he offers so much more because of what other players bring to the team. The licence, as you said, for Trent to get up the right, Robertson to get up the left, Henderson alongside him looks a lot happier because he knows he's got the licence to go into the box and maybe score goals or link up. I think his strongest position is central midfield. I think he's turning into a leader. I think if you look at world football, I think probably you would maybe Kante is just a little bit ahead of him, but he's certainly one of the best in the world at that position, and he's integral to the way we play, having him in that position.
Yeah.
OK, still to come before kick-off in France. We are going to bring you some exclusive interviews with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Virgil van Dijk as well. Time now, though, to hear from the boss. He's been speaking with Mark.
It feels a very long time since we started with the back four, which had Robbo, Trent, Virgil and Joel together. How big a boost to have these guys in from the off for a game?
Yeah, of course, it's helpful. And in the other lineup, Joe is available, Ivo is available, so Nico and Costa, so that's very good, very good. Reece and Nate are fit, so it's all good in a moment, I can say. But I don't like to talk about it, to be honest. Honestly, it's just, that's how it should be, done. The rest is, let's play football and let's see how it works.
As we get closer and closer to the start of the season, what are you looking for in these games?
Kind of rhythm. I see a lot of things in training now, what we worked on now the whole 4 weeks, and I would like to see them in the games as well. A couple of things, how we defend, how we want to attack, how we want to create, how we want to react directly after we lose the ball, how we react directly after we won a ball. So we did really a lot of stuff, and in training looks great. Now we have to bring it on the pitch, obviously. But we didn't, the formation of the first half played, okay, not the two centre halves, of course, not Virgil and maybe not Diogo, but they have played a couple of games together. We thought that makes sense towards the season. But second half, the team is the second game, the team is very good as well. So let's see how the boys are, which shape they are, how they deal with the training sessions, with the intensity of training. We should be actually okay today, and I hope I can see that.
Do you look forward to seeing that in the pressing? You said about the rhythm of pressing that.
Oh yeah. How I said, we saw it, that didn't work. And again, I said it's pretty normal, but we worked, of course, on it. It's like how you press in the first place, how you react on not getting the ball in the first moment, how you reorganize the formation. That's football work, that's tactical work on the pitch. We like doing that, to be honest. It would be a bit boring if you don't have to do that anymore, so it's fine. And that's how it is. You have to get this kind of rhythm again, that you really, if you press, you shouldn't expect to win the first ball. That can happen, of course, but you don't have not really often. You have to be ready for the second ball. We need situations where we put on 2-3 players to the ball side, really near the challenge, and win these balls back, use it directly with a good offensive pass. So I could go through the whole session book of this preseason, and that's pretty much what we want to see, obviously, but that's normal. Let's see. Bologna has a good side, a experienced side. I know I know Sinisha not that well, but the assistant of Bologna is my former centre-half. That's the famous guy, Miroslav Tanja, who played centre-half next to me. I was right back. We played 300 games together. He passed me the ball just twice. So we need to have a talk about that today. But very smart people, both Sinisha and Miro. So I can imagine a team will play a little bit like that. Will be interesting. Thank you.
OK, plenty more still to come from us as we build up to kick-off over in France. It's Italian opposition this afternoon, 2 60-minute friendlies against Bologna, and the first kicks off at 3 o'clock UK time. We're back with more after this.
There's the cross. Lovren! The roof has come off Anfield! It comes to Lallana! Oh no, I don't believe it. Klopp's off, the players are off. The most ridiculous game of football that you will ever see. Top-wing Chamberlain! Stunning moment, stunning hit. What a night, what a hero, what an arrival in a red shirt. And here's Firmino again, and still going on Firmino! Oh, that's absolutely wonderful! It's Alexander-Arnold! Absolutely emphatic! Fabinho with the strike! Oh my word! Mane chasing, lovely take, Neuer's come, and Mane's turned in, and Sadio Mane for Liverpool with a brilliant away goal! Shaqiri, Wijnaldum! Gracious me! One end to the other. Unbelievable first half. Oh, Pickford's lost it. Divock Origi! Unbelievable! Jurgen Klopp can't believe it. Divock Origi! He's won the European Cup for Liverpool! Number 6 is on its way to Anfield. It doesn't get any better than this. Liverpool, the champions of Europe. Here's Salah. He's got a run on goal. He's still going. And Salah for Liverpool! Have a little bit of that! Liverpool Football Club are champions of England once again. It's Alexander. Oh, it's Alisson! Unbelievable! It's absolutely astonishing! You will never see such drama again! Corner taken quickly, Origi!
Yes! What yes, bro? You got him! Is that right? Is that right? Is that right? You got pound? You got pound for a trolley? Yeah. Can you help me with it? Yeah.
Look at this.
Can we just get this on camera, please?
It's Scouse.
That's it.
I think I need better opponents.
This is where a little goal of mine just tickled the net.
It's just the best feeling ever when you get into the ground and when you score, it's just brilliant.
Go! Lee, you are the best. Yeah!
The legend, one of a kind. I love the man.
Anybody got any ideas? I'm thinking Star Wars, but with coconut.
What's going on here?
How are we?
See you guys.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. Liverpool's pre-season tour is in France this afternoon. 2 one-hour matches against Italian opposition in the form of Bologna, both of which are live here on LFC TV and LFC TV Go as well. And the first kicks off at 3 o'clock UK time, and this is the Liverpool 11 which starts that game. And as you can see, it does include Virgil van Dijk from the off, another big step forward for the Dutchman in his recovery from injury. He starts alongside Joel Matip, Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold also in defence. Quavian Kelleher is in goal, and the midfielders are Naby Keita, James Milner too, and Harvey Elliott, and up front it's Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota and Mohamed Salah. Well, today's matches come on Liverpool's 25th day of their pre-season tour and on their 6th day over in France. Mark Benstead has been with the squad since their move to Evian at the weekend.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah, it's an awfully long time for the players to be away from home, a lot of time to spend on the road together. But the one thing that really stands out, having spent some time with the group this week, is just how good the team spirit is. You wouldn't know they've been away from home that long. It is a constant stream of jokes, of laughs, of competition behind the scenes as well, in terms of games and what have you going on at the team hotel. And it's just brilliant to see. Also spending a bit of time with the group, you get a little insight into the dynamic within the football club as a whole. And a couple of things have really stood out for me over the course of the last week. The first came when the boys had a double session here earlier in the week. They did a tactical ball work session in the morning, came back and they had a really arduous running session in the afternoon, which was laps and laps of this track. Increasing pace, increasing demands on the players, and it really did test them. You saw Big Ibu Konate, who's come in, fabulous athlete that he is, played at the top level in Germany, but he's just not quite at the level that Liverpool demand of their players. So for him, it was a bit of a struggle to get over the line for the final few laps. And it was brilliant to see all the other boys gathered there, cheering and clapping him on to get the job done. That's just an indication of the kind of team spirit. It's all for one. It's a great team effort, and I thought that really came across in that moment. And the other thing that really stands out for me is something we saw sort of a day or so ago. It was the sort of squad table tennis tournament. Been really competitive behind the scenes, in between sessions, loads of table tennis going on, and they do, like I say, get really competitive. So they had a big knockout tournament, but it wasn't just the players, it was all the support staff as well. Everyone was brought in, and it was doubles, and it was mixed teams, and it was really nice to see something I don't think you would see at all football clubs, but you had someone who was an elite player teamed up with one of the support guys. So, for example, there was an international captain playing alongside one of the boys who does the cleaning, and they're on an equal footing, and they were playing as a team together. And I just thought it was a really nice indication of the kind of setup we have at this football club. You wouldn't have that at all football clubs. We didn't have it here, perhaps, under previous managers, but the environment that Jurgen fosters behind the scenes, we see that pay off in the pitch. It is all for one. It is a group effort. I think that's been really evident over the last few days. Of course, like I say at the top of this, it has been a huge time to be away from home. The boys will be delighted to get back and see their families, of course, over the next few days. But there's been a power of work done, and I think what they've done here and previously in Austria will stand them in good stead for the season ahead.
OK, thanks to Mark Benstead over in Evian. We heard from both Alisson and Fabinho on their new contracts earlier, and the Brazilians made it a hat-trick of new deals over the last week after Trent Alexander-Arnold also committed his long-term future to the club. And the Scouser is understandably delighted to having put pen to paper.
To be here for this amount of time and extending to be here for a longer amount of time is amazing for me and my family. So it's a proud moment for me. It always is, signing a new contract here, and it is an amazing feeling.
Has the feeling of putting the shirt on changed over the years? Are you any more used to it now? Is it still a special feeling?
No, it's still a special feeling, knowing how many people wanted to do that growing up and how many people tried to, and it's so hard to be able to do that. And it means so much to me to be able to do that. So for me to do that on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, putting the training top on is a special feeling all the time.
There's a big season coming up, isn't there? What's the kind of feeling inside you looking ahead to that?
Trophies, really. That's always the aim, especially these days. We have our sights set on trophies. That's our aims. It's no longer top four or doing well, Europe and things like that, getting to quarters and semis. We want to be in a title run. Coming into May, we want to be in the Champions League final. We want to be in the domestic cup finals. We want to go as far as we can. So I think this season we'll be fighting on all fronts to win as many trophies as we can. And I think that season last year of not having anything to celebrate at the end of the season was a tough one to take, but okay, hopefully will motivate us to try and get our hands on some more silverware.
Are you setting yourself any targets for the new season?
Probably not too much personally. I think as a team, I think the main thing for me is just wanting to win things, and by doing that comes the individual things. You can only achieve things with playing well and doing well, getting numbers on the board. So yeah, I think whether I'm getting assists or goals is important, but not as important as the 3 points. So yeah, as long as I've got my hands on some silver at the end of the season, it won't really bother me what my numbers are looking like.
Longer term, what are your targets? Have they changed at all in the last couple of years?
Probably a little bit. I think a few years ago was obviously to establish myself as a regular, and then push on and kind of be an always starter, someone that couldn't really be dropped. And I think over the last few years I've kind of achieved that. So now it's about just winning things, leading the team as well in certain ways, being more of a leader on the pitch, off the pitch, for the younger players, and kind of establishing myself in them kind of roles as a leader would be probably something that I've got my eye on.
It's interesting you say that, because Pep Lijnders said earlier this week he's watched you develop into a leader, a future captain is what he said. What kind of things will you look to do to kind of embrace that? You're still only 22 yourself.
Yeah, but I think I've been in and around the lads enough time now to not see myself as a young player, someone who's a mature lad, someone who's capable of fulfilling them roles, and being a captain without necessarily having the armband on your arm is something that I've always wanted to try and be. So I think just being a role model for the younger players, trying to keep them on the right path, and being there for encouragement when they need that, and kind of just mentoring, I'd say, kind of like what Hendo and kind of Millie was doing to me when I was a bit younger, and just kind of nurturing them into young men that are capable of achieving anything, really.
So you take bits from the likes of Hendo, Millie, Verge?
Oh, definitely. I think I've been around some amazing leaders. Them three that you mentioned were probably, well, definitely up there as the three best that I've been around, and I'm privileged to be able to pick up things and learn things from them. They're all different leaders in their own way. Some lead by the actions and some lead by the words. But at the end of the day, leadership's leadership, and I think it's important to find what kind of role you have and who you are, and don't try and be something that you're not, and try and lead in the way that's best for you to help the team.
Yeah, another new deal, this time for Trent. Just great to have him signed up, committed, and obviously when new deals are going on, even if it's behind the scenes, it's another thing on the player's mind, isn't it? So now he can fully focus on the job in hand.
Bit different from the other two players that have re-signed contracts, in the sense I think he would play for Liverpool in League 3. I think he's Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher will be a big influence on his career. But he's done brilliant, hasn't he? I think it's 32 assists over the last 3 seasons, probably 7 or 8 goals as well. But he's grown into arguably the best full-back, wing-back in the world for me. I can't see any player better than him at that position. He offers so much, from whether it's set pieces as we're seeing here, or whether driving down the right wing and putting fantastic balls in. But he's slowly growing into that leader. You know, it is going to be, he's only 22, it was going to take its time. But the more he plays, the more confident he becomes in his own ability. But his ability to talk other players, it's all right being 22, but looking at Virgil van Dijk and saying, listen, you're out of position there, get tucked in. I think he feels comfortable doing that now, and that comes with experience, even at 22.
I'd just like to see him concentrate on his own game, to be quite honest with you. He's got bags of time to become the leader that he probably thinks and maybe he wants to become. At this moment in time, 22 years of age, the way he's playing at this moment, you concentrate on your own performances. All that stuff that, like, you know, talking about leadership and things like that, that will come eventually through age, through experience. I think for me, concentrate on your own performances at this minute in time, and that will look after the future.
I suppose that maturity that, you know, he probably had to have last season towards the end, you know, and he had the likes of Reece Williams and Nat Phillips alongside him, and he had to kind of track back a bit more and help them a bit more, will kind of help long term with that desire to be a leader.
I totally agree with Gary. I mean, that's a job further down the line. you know, there's plenty of players. He might not get the armband. You know, it might be something he desires, but he might not get it because of time. And so, you know, a lot of things in football and in life are all about timing, aren't they? And yeah, what I like about him as well, Becky, he's 22. He's won everything in the game domestically. You know, he's got that hunger and desire to keep winning things. You know, we were in the Euros. We were talking about Mbappe as well. He's won the World Cup. He wants to win the European Championship. He wants to win Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain, and he's done a lot in the game at such a young, tender age. And I see shades of Trent in that as well. You know, he wants to carry on winning things. He just said there, you know, that line, as long as I've got silverware next season, at the end of the season, I'm happy. That's what you want to hear from players like that. You know, it'd be easy. He's on a great contract. He signed a new contract. You know, it'd be a lot of money. He's won the Champions League. He's won the Premier League, playing for the club he wants to play for. He's consistently playing. It'd be easy for him to just sit off now and just think, you know, I've kind of cracked it. But you don't see that in him. He wants to win more. He wants to get better. And that's a great quality.
What will his personal objectives be for this season? Because as we spoke about earlier on, he was kind of restricted, wasn't he, in his ability to get forward that much last campaign, but still scored a few important goals. That last minute winner against Villa, I imagine that and some more assists will probably be what he wants to do.
From an individual point of view, as any player on the pitch, I mean, scoring a goal is a fantastic thing. I think the one thing that is always levelled at him is his defensive abilities and his defensive capabilities. So if I was a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think I'm quite comfortable going forward, making assists, probably scoring goals from free kicks. The one area that, like, my game is a little bit suspect is defensively. So work on that, get better at that, become the all-round fullback that he's more than capable of doing that.
So what does he need to do to get better at that?
I think he has to be better in one-on-one situations. And don't get yourself exposed. The best thing a defender can do, and you see that from a centre-back point of view, if you've got like a lack of pace, don't get exposed one-on-one situations where somebody's going to run away from you. Try and get yourself a group of players around you. He's got to do that as well. It's a little bit more difficult, I think, in a full-back position when you sometimes can get isolated. But let's face it, going forward, he's if not the best full-back in world football at this moment in time, he's one of them. The future, I think the one thing you would get from every Liverpool player that gets interviewed, it's not a personal thing, it's not on a personal level, it's all about the team. You got that from his interview there. It's not about his goals, it's about like the team's goals and winning silverware, winning trophies, and that's what you want to hear from a fan's point of view, in my opinion.
OK, well, Trent Alexander-Arnold is joined in Liverpool's back four for the first of today's two games by a certain Virgil van Dijk. The Dutchman makes his first start in 10 months, and he caught up with us earlier this week, and he began by telling us how he's getting on with that recovery.
I'm doing well. Obviously, it's been a tough pre-season. You know, coming back from such a long time to be playing and training with the boys again is a big thing, but it's been tough at times. We try to manage everything, obviously, with Andreas Schlumberg, who's obviously close contact with me and Joe in this case. So yeah, obviously we still getting managed, but we're doing very well.
You've reached a couple of big milestones out in the training camp. Obviously, returning to team training and then getting some minutes against Hertha Berlin. What's that meant to you?
A lot. You know, it's something obviously I've worked for so long. You know, the might be a small thing, but you know, the starting of team training was such a big day for me. And normally I don't really get nervous, but those kind of small things makes me not nervous, but a bit like excited and stuff. And the same goes for the game. You know, you've been visualizing so many times yourself playing a game again, and to just be out there again. And there's obviously plenty of things to improve still, and to get back to full fitness. But just get out there again, give me so much confidence, and just really to crack on and push on again, and that's what I want to do. So just keep going, and the next one is on Thursday.
I think one of the most shared clips we've made out here is the hug on the touchline. What was that like?
Special, yeah. You know, we said it to each other. We have to soak it all up. You know, we have to take it in, enjoy it, let it make you stronger, let it make you even more, you know, hungrier to stay fit as well. So to be standing there at that moment, at that time, was special, and I will never forget that.
So what is the plan now then? Now that if the first game is out the way, is it just a case of building up those minutes in matches and working on your fitness and training?
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously, Andreas Lundberg is in close contact with the coaching staff, with Pep, with the manager, and that's how we, you know, make sure that we making and taking the right decisions. And we are in close contact with Andreas, making sure that we have the right feedback. We have to be honest with ourselves, and that's how we are where we are at the moment. So same goes now. You know, on Thursday, I've heard we play at least 30 minutes, but could be maybe longer. And then we just build it up. We have another friendly, well, I'm looking forward to at Anfield, of course, on the weekend or on Monday, one of the two games. So I'm make more minutes hopefully. Then if things go well, and then the league will start. And in the end of the day, it's all about what the manager wants, and you know, we'll see how that progresses.
Yeah, as we say, Virgil van Dijk does start the first game this afternoon. Obviously got 20 minutes against Hertha Berlin. It's just so good to see him back in a red shirt, isn't it?
It is from a fan's perspective. For his perspective, it's about managing expectations. I mean, we've both been there with injuries, and it's a horrible situation to be in. You know, mentally, it asks you a lot of questions. It's a very isolated situation. It's a very lonely situation, and you know, when it's long term, you do question, you know, at times whether you're going to come back, and that's the kind of injury he's had. He's done ever so well getting to this point. I'm not sure if he was ahead of time, but you know, you get to a point with an injury and you think that you're ready to go, but that's where you need to manage expectations, and the manager and the fitness team will be looking at him saying, just calm down, like, all right, you feel great and you want to do this and you want to do that, but we need to protect it. And you know, I know it's only 9 days to go. Whether he's going to be right for that, I'm not so sure. He'll probably tell you he is, but like I said, you've got to manage the expectations of fans, his expectations, and that's down to the manager and the staff.
It must be so hard when you've had an injury like that, and clearly there's a very stringent and meticulous plan in place to manage his return to physical fitness, but kind of the mental side as well. You know, when you've had such a tough injury, if you're on the pitch and you're going in for a tackle or that kind of thing.
He slipped,
does that,
didn't he?
Yeah.
He slipped. And I said at the time, you know, I remember in training, I come back from a broken leg and I fell over, and all of a sudden I thought, oh, that didn't hurt. Yeah. And you gain more confidence in your injury, in your knee or your leg or whatever it is, and you know, you figured it out yourself mentally. All of a sudden, them questions then have been answered. You know, is this going to hurt? You know, I'm not with Gary. I don't know if it was the same for you. You know.
Yeah, I think you're always apprehensive going into games. I think the one big difference, certainly from back in my time, the medical treatment and the the assessments that they get and the care that they get and the rehabilitation is so much better than it was back in our day. So they're coming back in a far better shape and a far better level of fitness, I think, than maybe what we did. Because I always remember coming back, and if it had been my knee, it wasn't my knee that was particularly like a problem. It might be my hamstring or my groin or my calf or something like that, purely and simply because we probably hadn't worked so much on the rehabilitation. But nowadays it's totally different. It's so professional. But that still doesn't stop the apprehension that's in the player's mind. And as soon as he can get more minutes under his belt, which obviously he's going to get today, I think that he'll be better for that. Whether he starts against Norwich, you know, some players you might just throw in and might take a chance, and he's probably one of these players that you might just hang your coat on.
Yeah, I think just listening to Gary, it made me laugh because the amount of times the physio's good. How are you feeling today? You know, I'm thinking about playing at the weekend. And of course, you'd go, yeah, I'm feeling, but I don't think that happens anymore. No. I think it's the other way around. I think we don't think you're ready. We don't think you're ready. You're not playing.
I mean, we obviously saw Joe Gomez there as well, and they made their return together, and they were already great friends before this injury, but going through that together, an experience like that, as awful as it would have been for both of them, will have have strengthened that bond that it'd be almost unbreakable now, I would imagine, between them.
Well, when you're training and like working every day with somebody that's going through a similar thing to yourself, then obviously it does build a little bit of a bond. Interesting that they've split them up, isn't it? Because it could have been so easy for them to play Gomez and Van Dijk together in one of the games. Interesting that like they put Matip with Van Dijk, and obviously I think Konate will probably play alongside Joe Gomez. Looking towards the start of the season and throughout the season, that might be a scenario where like they have to play together. We saw last season, what was it, some like 18 or 19 different formations in as a centre back combination. So I think the more that they get used to everybody together, everybody playing with each other, then I think that the better it will be.
OK, behind Virgil van Dijk in goal, Kevin Kelleher is in the starting lineup for the first of today's 2 matches, and a little earlier he spoke with Mark at the team's hotel.
With each passing week, more boys are coming back for pre-season. Are you noticing the standard in training going up as a result?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I say, we're nearly back to full fitness or full strength with the whole squad nearly come back in now. So the levels have definitely gone up more than they have. The quality, the intensity, everything's getting up and getting close now to the start of the season. So everything's nearly in full swing.
With all the boys coming back as well, is it another reminder of just how much competition there is for a starting spot in this group?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so much strength and quality in the squad. Even before the lads came back, there was so much quality, and now when them all come back in, the quality's gone up even more. So it just makes you realise that we have such strength and depth in this squad, and there's a lot of competition for places.
During pre-season, we talk about the fact it's about fitness first and foremost, but as you get closer to the season starting, are you looking to work on other things as well?
Yeah, I think obviously fitness is still probably the main thing, but like I say, when we get closer to the Premier League starting, it's trying to work on small things like tactical stuff and just finding the rhythm with players and just getting into the rhythm, like with the whole team, trying to get together and get that connection again.
OK, kick-off is fast approaching over in France, so that is it from us for the moment. Just a reminder, though, that if you do want to watch both games this afternoon, then you will need a subscription to either LFC TV or LFC TV Go, and details of how you can sign up can be found on the official website. That's liverpoolfc.com/watch. And as well as today's action, you can also enjoy every kick from the Reds' final 2 pre-season friendlies, which are taking place at Anfield, of course. Liverpool host Athletic Club of Bilbao at 4 o'clock on Sunday, and Osasuna at 7 on Monday. So another big step for Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool this afternoon as they work their way back to full fitness. 2 one-hour matches taking place against Bologna, the first of which comes your way in a few minutes' time.